Well, hello, peace and blessings on this divine day. Welcome to the Sacred Pathway to Liberated Black Womanhood podcast with me, Allison Rozelle. And today is the day that I have been waiting for.
Oh my God.
I get to sit and play with my sister, Neith Sankofa. Hello, Neith.
Oh, my sister, I feel the exact same way. Like we get to play in sacred fellowship and just deepen our lovehood that we've developed over the years.
Yes.
And it's just honored to continue to be in sacred community with you. Really.
Yes, I feel the same way about you, my sister. I truly, truly do. So today, we can't be on a sacred pathway to liberated Black womanhood without bringing all the Sankofa up in this conversation, as in the Neith Sankofa.
I'm ready. I'm prepared. I'm all here for all my niece lists to be here. Neith, Sankofa, all of that.
So before we dive into this juicy conversation, I'm going to read over her bio, and then we are going to talk. Oh my goodness, talk. So Neith Sankofa is the founder, CEO, and principal facilitator of the Healing Theater, a healing-centered dance company committed to providing space and tools for Black women to heal and reconnect to their mystical potential. Love that. Neith is an author, a sacred healing artist, consultant, and coach in the areas of self-healing, business-based energy alignment, and embodiment for liberation. She has a BA and MA in religious studies, minor in sociology, and concentrations in ethics and embodiment, both from Georgia State University. Neith also holds a BA and ordination from the University of Metaphysics and has studied several forms of African, ancient, and indigenous wisdom through over 10 years of dance apprenticeships and holistic mentorships. She has been a presenter at national and international conferences and is the author of several publications on the use of dance, movement, and embodiment practices for liberation. That's liberation again, 2 times. I love it. Neith's dance credits include performing in the opening and closing ceremonies of the Olympic Games, being a featured dancer at the International Day of Peace, and ceremonial performances throughout the U.S. Neith's soul path commitments include assisting in the liberation, ×3, of Black bodies, specifically Black women, into the bliss that is their birthright. Oh,
Yes.
Yes.
I had to give you a little movement medicine on that because you just did you put all your magic in there.
Hey, if I'm gonna present somebody as magically divine as you, I got to bring it. So
thank you, sister.
We're gonna get on in this conversation. Welcome again to you, my sister. Okay. So since this podcast is all about, and now my practice is all about, the sacred pathway of liberated Black womanhood, I wanted to ask you first, when you think of your own personal liberation journey, what does liberation mean to you? How does that look to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm so grateful to have an opportunity to answer this because sometimes we don't get an opportunity to be asked and hear the answers of our own, reflection of where we are and what we're doing and how far we've come in our own growth and unfolding,
Absolutely.
So liberation to me more and more is about being courageous enough to own and respect my desires, own and respect my own desires, and be intentional about building a relationship with myself. And I'm just stepping into the portal of understanding that there are levels of that internal relationship. And I'm always pushing up against the boundaries of that through my experiences with other people, So I'm like, wow, this happened or that happened, or wow, this is an experience. And it's always the ability to come back to center and say, what does that mean about what I've learned about my own desires? And how can I honor what it is that I have come to do on this planet as a result of the culmination of those journeys and the insights I've received about what I can do and what brings me like the most intense and passionate bliss on the planet. Okay. Like that's liberation to me.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Tapping into that sacral chakra energy of bliss and pleasure and creativity and bringing it all together, along with the power of your throat chakra and speaking your purpose, your truth, and honoring those things, and the space in between is so liberating.
Yes.
So liberating.
Yes. And it's like, it's a spiral. It keeps going like, it spirals and you're like, woo, damn, I don't think I can be no more free than what I am. And then you live and you're like, okay, that brought me even deeper into myself. And, just really being able to show up.
Yeah.
Just to show up, It's so much to do if you're living outside of a liberatory framework for your life. I don't think you need to wait until you're completely liberated to step out into things, because the journeys themselves, as you know, bring about that level of awareness that brings you to a point of liberation. Liberation is about acceptance, It's like, this is me. So if I have makeup on, or if I have whatever it is on, I want it to be because that's what I want. That's how I want to show up, Yeah. And it's just really beautiful. It's a beautiful place to be in practice, And I don't know that that liberation for me is a destination.
No.
It's not like somewhere to get. And I learned that from my African healing dance mentor, Wyoma. And we were just talking yesterday about some other things. And just hearing her own stories about how she's still walking in her own unfolding, it's just really powerful to hear an elder say that. And it gives you permission, when the people that love and respect and are models and pioneers for you say, and I'm still learning about my desires and my, it's always like, it's always expanding like the universe,
Yes.
So, which is exciting, because I'm so happy about this conversation and your movement, because it's putting a different energy around liberation, because it is in a paradigm that is sometimes in itself oppressive, right? It's like the act of getting from under oppression. And I really want to push myself and invite others into perhaps thinking about it as, journeys into self-love, self-knowledge, and self-honoring.
Yeah. And that's the interesting thing about the the lifestyle, I say, of liberation, because you're right, it's not a destination, it's a lifestyle. And it is a practice and a choice, because you get to choose whether or not you want to live a liberated life or not.
Right.
Do you want to wake up in the morning and just be so incredibly turned on by your life?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you want to wake up in the morning and just be dreadful all day long because maybe you're not exactly where you want to be? But I mean, the whole point of the journey is to celebrate each milestone as we go. And
Mm-hmm.
that is one of the practices that I definitely have started doing in my own life. Thus made me start on this pathway to this new path, if you will, for creating the sacred pathway to liberated Black womanhood, because of the fact that I now know in my own life what it feels to be liberated. And it doesn't mean that my liberation look like yours or like anybody else's. We can all live in a very liberated lifestyle and celebrate each other's points of liberation.
Yes, but that's the work though.
Yeah, it
And
is.
I think we need to start at a recent experience in my own life, working alongside other really powerful magical beings. It has shown me that that needs to be named, right? It needs to be named that there's practice to be had and to be done to live in community with other powerful and really self-actualized and rooted and focused and healing beings, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I'm super magical, everybody know it, and I also got my shit, okay?
Right.
So there's gonna be some times where I forget how liberated I am, and I forget that liberation also comes with, I don't think liberation, true liberation, the way I embody it or am trying to live it and embody it, can exist without wisdom.
Yes.
Without that, you become a dangerous being.
Yeah.
You now are becoming a version of oppression and patriarchy and all the other isms that are power over structures, right? It's like, you are now subject to my liberation. You know, it's like, yeah, well, actually, now if you take a closer look at that, that is exactly what it is that you don't like.
Right.
That we don't like, that we're trying to, so it has to come with this everything, you know? This dance, this balance, this what the word that is resonating so deeply with me in this season of time, as we're talking about these very strong topics of like, how do we fix all of this in a real way, right? And to me, it always comes back to harmony. Harmony.
Yeah.
That's, for me, it's like true liberation is also harmony, you know, because we're not islands unto ourselves. Even if we go to the furthest reaches of the planet, you will still need the great mother, the air, you know, the sun. Like, you literally can't do it by yourself. So there's something to be really realized in that. Like, my liberation is inextricably connected to yours. And for me, that brings it around to like, my soul commitments are not only my own body's liberation. What does it mean for my singular Black woman body to experience liberation? And everywhere I look, I don't see that mirrored back at me. That is, it's not cool for me to do nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because then you aren't truly liberated. If my sister, if I'm looking at you and I don't see you as a blissful, liberated woman, I can't say that I'm truly liberated. It's like the saying, if one's not free, none of us are free. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
we all need to have that experience. But again, it's a choice, and it's the work.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
the work, you know.
Yeah, that's so key that you said that. Like, some people have their own journey, and I try to be careful with my language, because I can get on the edges of, spiritual snobbery,
Yeah,
like,
and that's hard not to do.
especially after hearing my bio, I'm like, let me come back down a couple of notches. I'm like,
You can do a hair toss, because you are a badass. It's
it ain't nothing wrong with it, but also it's always that balancing too. It's like, yeah, and also, I don't know what somebody else's soul path is. I don't know why they're here. I don't know why the creator created. I have no idea. So what their liberation, their embodied liberation might look vastly different than mine.
Right.
And it doesn't mean they're not free. Now I get to call a spade a spade. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I get to have some opinions about what I observe in the world. For me, that is a cornerstone of that liberation. I get to say, I'm feeling into this, and this feels like, to me, this is my sacred truth. Right. Like, you could tell me you liberated all of eternity. If you walk in the world a certain kind of way, I can't walk with you.
Right. I feel you.
Blessings upon your journey. Okay.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. So what I can appreciate and give thanks for in your line of work, your own personal divine assignment to assist Black women in healing and finding their own liberation through the work that you do. I want to kind of talk about the healing theater, because as a person who has experienced the divine magic of your work, that is so heartfelt and moving. I can't think of a time where I've ever watched you where I have not got emotional, and it brings something up every single time. So what I want to know is, when it comes to the healing theater, where did that concept come from for you, and how did you come to embody that divine assignment to be able to work exclusively with Black women in this manner?
Such a rich, deep question, and I first want to just sincerely appreciate you, not only for your support as my sister and as my friend and as a sacred, fellow healer in this work, and also someone who believes enough in my work to have come and witnessed it several times, like several times. And so I honor that, because I know energetically what it is that I do. And I'm happy to talk about it and talk about what I call, the unfolding of our divine paths. It's like, so I, as well as other people, sometimes we get an opportunity, if we're super lucky, to understand that we have a specific gift when we're young, and have people recognize that gift so that it gets rooted. And, some of the gifts that I have that I incorporate in this, I pick them up later. But for me, the root of my magic is movement, right? And so as a very young being, my mama said I asked to take the dance classes, at 4. I asked to take dance classes. So I took dance class till I was 4 until, I was the captain of the dance team in college and all that. And then I joined the Marine Corps. We'll talk, that's for a whole nother podcast, okay?
Okay.
But during that time, I didn't dance at all. And there was something missing there. And so I had to take a reclamation kind of journey, you know, because it was such a big part of my childhood and my recognition. You know, I danced in the church, I danced at everybody's wedding, everybody's anniversary, everybody, you know, it's like, you know, I went to dance tour, I did the, you know, this and that, and the third. And so I was known as a dancer, you know, did some semi-professional things for a while, and then I just really dropped it, you know. I was taking a warrior journey at that point. I can talk so eloquently about it now in hindsight, but
right.
really, this is how I be looking.
Yes.
You stumbling from one thing to the next, or, you know, excited about one thing or to the next. And to me, that's how it unfolded for me, just being excited about one thing to the next and really saying, for me, the healing theater came, the very first beginning ideas about doing work in this way came during my master's degree. And this is how I got back into dance. I went back to school. I was in a master's program, and I was taking a religion and literature course. And the teacher, who was the chair of the department at the time, said, I want to do something different and offer an opportunity for you to do this next assignment in whatever way you want. Like the creativity is, I would like to push the boundaries of academic creativity.
Nice.
And just like that, dance fell back upon me. And I had to really work with myself to build up the courage to pitch this idea about taking the last chapter of James Baldwin's Go Tell It on the Mountain, that chapter that is called The Threshing Floor. And if you never read that, please give yourself the pleasure of the magic that is James Baldwin's work, right?
Oh my God.
Yes, one time for the ancestor, right? Like, yo. And so I took that and I created a movement piece that was taking people through that last chapter. Now, what I didn't know, and I'm glad I didn't know, because I wouldn't have done the assignment, was I had to quantify everything that I was doing. So, which means I had to really catalog what I'm doing, how I'm translating from one medium to the next. And it's a whole world of scholarship that does that. And so that's why I, you know, did so much of my concentration in embodiment. There's a whole like thing to that. And I ended up presenting at conferences around what I created, because it was just like such a big and new thing. I'm still up on the website of my university as like this project and then I decided to write my thesis on Black women who use, I'm a womanist, Black women from a womanist perspective, Black women who use African healing dance as a Sankofa-ing, you know, ritual. They go back and retrieve that magic of movement and dance and African ancestry and transmute it and transform it in their own ways to provide communal healing, right? And I centered my work around Catherine Dunham. Anybody who knows me knows, like, me and Catherine Dunham, like, that, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, I know.
Yes, I know you know. So I found Catherine Dunham by way of Alvin Ailey. Like, when I was growing up, Alvin Ailey, we always went every year, you know, to Alvin Ailey. And through my research about African dance, I found Catherine Dunham was the teacher of so many of these powerful people. And so I started looking for other women. I found Giwayan Mata, who's here in Atlanta, that I wrote around in that same piece. And I found my teacher, who's been my, that I've been doing apprenticing in African healing dance for the last 5 years, Wyoma, who I was talking to about earlier. And so I see the healing theater, I see myself embodying that which I have admired in Black women who said, I'm going to take my gift. And I don't think you have to study. I don't consider myself an African dancer, right? But what I've been taught is the most important part of African dance is the soul of the dancer. The soul of the dancer, which is intimately, and you cannot separate that and the earth and the ancestors and our rich heritage and history. I see myself in the healing theater as my offering, you know, and my continuation in that sacred work. And so that's what I try to do. Not only bring forward the stories of Black women healing dancers, which stories are like untold, vastly untold. So I see myself creating that. I use their music. I use, you know, people like Sweet Honey on the Rock, people I feel like are really sacred healing artists, retrieving our ancestral ways. And I try to embody themes that help Black women liberate spaces in their bodies that have been overtaken by systems of harm. And so that's like the big soup of it all, but it serves all the places in me that are just like my most sacred and my most delicious spaces, right? I get to be sensual. I get to be I'm everyone. I get to be every Black woman, every experience that means something to me. And also I get to, you know, express myself in my body, and I get to be super nerdy about it too, which I find such bliss in being able to finally step into that and say, yo, I'm kind of a genius. I ain't trying to brag, but you know, the divine is flowing through me. That needs to be honored. That spirit flows through me in that way. And I get to put all that together and see Black women. I get to see them free up in their bodies, minds, emotions, hug each other, dance, play instruments, sing, articulate, feel like they can just be all the beauty that they are. And that is, that's everything. That's everything for me.
It's everything to experience that. Cause like the last thing that I went to of yours, which was so beautiful, because you know, you opened that space up for us healers. And I remember sitting there and watching you perform, and how you went in these different, and it was like a range of emotion and thought. And what I felt was this was a pouring out from your soul, which gave my soul permission to also pour out.
Yes.
And I'm trying not to cry because
please do.
It brought up so much to watch and experience that. And to when the climax came to where we were all standing and dancing, because at that point it was like none of us could stop. We all had to dance. We all had to move. We all had to cry. We all had to sit there in sisterhood and hold hands and laugh and cry. We had to let go, because it stirred up so much of our souls, and the ancestors' presence was undeniable in that place.
Yes.
So that is why, for me, when I think about this new pathway for me and talking about the liberation of Black womanhood, my sole purpose, my sole intention is to bring healers like you to the forefront, because Black women need to know that these resources are available to you. And it's not, you don't even have to be a dancer. You don't have to, you don't have to know how to drum, because once you just start strumming something, it's gonna pour from your spirit, and it's not you. It's you, your higher self. It's spirit. It's the ancestors. It's the culmination of all these things that we are, because we are the I am that I am. We are that, and it pours out of us. So that is why when women say, oh, I'm not very creative, I'm not this, I'm not that, stop that, because if you would just open yourself to receive that medicine, it comes through. And there is a just vibratory just moment that happens, and it just bubbles up and it comes out. And I don't know, it's kind of like, and I feel like I'm rambling, but it was euphoric.
No, it's good.
It was euphoric. And
you know,
it to almost, and I will say this, to almost orgasmic.
Yes. Oh, yes. Thank you for naming that.
Yeah.
Thank you for naming that. I remember when I was probably in my mid-20s, and one of my brothers called me and he said, I was sitting here, do you remember when you danced at so-and-so event? And I said, yes. I mean, it was like, I was probably like 16 or 17 at the time. And he said, he is in a particular moment in his life, when he is at particular moments in his life, he reconjures that moment for himself as a healing. And what he said to me was, I have never experienced anyone who is able to translate spirit in the way you do with your body. Yeah. And I'm like, I know. I know exactly what he's talking about. And this is what I feel when I experience other dancers. I feel like, oh my God, because you can just, but something about the gift that I have been given allows me to do exactly what you said, and it's done with consciousness. Vibrate. I'm a translator, like a repeater almost, I can receive that energy and like literally vibrate it out through my body to other people to receive as healing. And that, just for me to hear myself be in my liberation to say that sentence, like, this is a particular gift that I have been given. And I honor it, and I do the best that I can to honor it. And like you said, I get divination done on every healing theater that I do. I ask the ancestors what they would have me to do, say, as you saw, we had an ancestor altar. We honored them in the first and foremost, and asked the blessings upon, the beings of light that help us to do our work, which is so important as healers too, to have that space of honoring, and that space of like, what we do is sacred, just how we move is sacred. And so my work can't look any different than that. It can't look any different than what would it look like for me to go out here? This is how I live, get it how you live it, or so whatever that song is, right? I haven't even heard that song, just like the line where people like, I probably need to listen to it before I start quoting it. But anyways, it's all good. Y'all know what I'm saying? And it's that passion to really, I say, I'm gonna give you the game for real, because we sisters like this.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at for real is I'm literally trying to unblock the places that have been locked down by systems of harm. They have literally been locked down in our bodies. So when I have people do embodiment exercises like, observe how you stand. Is that how you stand, or is that how you were taught to stand? You can do a whole month of study behind that one element, right? And once you do one or two of these journeys, you begin to now be able to do that work that leads you to liberation, which is, how do I figure out what what turns me on. And part of that has to be, you have to have an experience that is orgasmic, right? Once you start, this is just juicy. Like, we hear all the time, like, healing is hard, it's a journey. It is. It ain't. You know, it has really like intense and heavy moments within it. But the reason why we keep doing it is because it is so orgasmic when we come, and it like a whole nother universe opens up for us to explore. Okay. My sweet and 3-year-old is up and about here. Took a late nap. Can you go with DJ? Because I'm doing some work. Oh, y'all, you want to see? Hello.
There she is.
And you know what? I'm glad Amari, you know, stopped in here, because, you know, I started as a result of all of this exploration within myself, and with the pandemic, I said, hey, how many little Black 3-year-old women have a shaman as a mother? You know, that I'm in a unique position. And so I wrote an apprenticeship for her. You know, all the things that have gotten me here, you know, she's beginning on a conscientious journey towards learning that, because she already got the same gift, you know? Go get some sackies. Oh, you want this? Yeah, that feels complete with that question. Yeah. And this is real life, and this is, I think this is important about us thinking about what liberation looks like. Well, it's not broken. We'll fix it. I just have that off. I have a lampshade off so I can get some proper lighting on me. And she like, this is not the way it's supposed to be, okay? Okay, go see DJ, please, okay? Oh, okay. You want to sit here with me? Okay. If you're gonna sit here, you have to be in quiet, silent time so I can hear TT. Okay.
Hey, my medicine woman.
Yes, little medicine woman in community. She's called the little medicine woman. Super powerful being that I'm very proud to mother alongside my other just brilliant boys, my sons. I can't even call them boys because 2 of them are legit grown, okay? 22 and 19, they like legit grown, so.
They legit grown.
And
But they'll always be your babies.
Baby grown, you know? Exactly, yeah.
Well, let's segue into, you know, I was so glad that, because she is divine, your daughter is divine.
Yes.
Because that was what I was going to talk about. Because when you sent that to me, I was like, really? A shaman apprenticeship?
Right.
3-year-old? That is awesome.
Right. Right.
So what does, break that down for the people who don't understand what that means.
So for me, sorry, would you like some support right now?
No.
What do you need right now?
I need to fix that.
Okay, I'll fix it in just a minute when I get done, okay, love? So an apprenticeship for us means that it's a retrieval. Okay, Mari. DJ, my love, can you come get her? I know she's gonna have a little bit of a moment. Okay,
you know what? This is all real. We are mothers, and this is what happens.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
you know, we're good.
Okay. You can see it.
You want to watch a movie? No.
So for how the apprenticeship is designed is, one thing that is super important to me is that my children and my grandchildren and the 7 generations that come after me will not have to retrieve the things that I have retrieved about their ancestry and their heritage. So as you know, but I'll share with everybody here, 10 years ago, I was in the depths of a severe depression. You know, I tried to commit suicide. I began a journey of sobriety for alcoholism. and my life completely shifted. Like I was like, yo, and I realized so much about what that can be for so many of us. And now I know it was what I call shaman sickness, right? It is that feeling like something within you wants to die, and it's so real. The life you're living that is not real, and it's not true, and it's not orgasmic for you. Okay, if I'm talking too loud, you can go with DJ, okay, love? And so that for me is a super important thing, right? So right after that moment, and you know, I got some stability, I started to do different things with my energy. Instead of going out to the bar with my girls, I took up skating with my sons, and that's when I found my first shamanic teacher, an indigenous woman, Lakota and Anishinaabe ancestry, and West African, who gave me a gift that I can never repay fully, which is she taught me how to live as an indigenous woman, you know, learn the ways that my ancestry, my great grandmother was a Cherokee woman, but we have lost the language, we have lost the ways. I mean, you know, we haven't lost all the ways because that's how we live, but I didn't have an understanding of how living a life in that paradigm is very different than living inside of some of the ways in which we live in our society.
Right.
So I came back to my indigenous mind and my indigenous self. After that, I began another journey, and that I'm still on, in African healing dance, which has taught me some of the same things I've learned about, and my academic studies as well have really committed me to learn the ways of my ancestors. And so for me, deciding and saying, this just makes natural sense to put her in an apprenticeship, because all of my sacred teachers who grew up as indigenous peoples, they grandmas came and got them and took them and apprenticed them. Like, this is a way of our ancestors, how we transfer information. It's too cold for you, my love? Okay, can you go get the blanket? And you can snuggle. We can have extra cuddlies, okay? Go get the blanket and we have extra cuddly times. So it was kind of like an aha, like duh, you know, like duh. Let me do it in a way where it's meaningful for her future, which means she'll have a way to articulate that to people. And honestly, the way of the future right now is conscious, is consciousness, is wellness, is, you know, things that don't harm the earth. And so she'll have a real foundation for what's being created for and with us in the world.
Well, I think that's beautiful that she is.
Can you just come get her, sweetheart? Because I'm now. Okay, I know.
Come on, let's watch a movie, fat mom.
So I think that with you doing that with your daughter and knowing that, I think that is a great thing for us as a people to know that if we're on this journey, we can bring our children with us on it, and it only better serves them so that they don't have to go and do all the work that we're doing right now.
Right.
Because we've already started that path. We've already started that work. So all they have to do is basically pick up the baton and just run on to the next generation, and then the next generation, and so on and so forth. So,
and the thing about even us having the moment where, you know, I'm in real time observing what it means to have my daughter be an apprentice at 3 years old. And the beautiful part about that is this is full circle to what we were talking about earlier about what the liberation journey looks like.
yeah.
You have an insight and you have the courage to walk through it to see what that means as far as your life, you know, and it keeps you in a place where, you know, that interaction with her is like, it keeps me authentic. It keeps me present and centered with what's important for me. You know, it's important for me to still be like as present as I can as a mother when I'm doing other things, and in real time be like, okay, and now it's time for you to do something while I'm doing this. And it's, for me, that's true liberation. And we need to see each other being real, because I think in our silos, we're like, well, I got to have this and this because that's the only thing I see other people doing.
Yeah.
I got to look this, because that's the only people that I see looking like that. You know, my video and my environment and, you know, everything got to be looking a certain kind of way. And it's just so.
Yeah.
And it keeps us from seeing the magic that exists within other sisters.
Yes.
Because we can't get past whatever our ideas are about, you know, about it all, you know?
Because when it comes down to it, and you bring up a great point, for me, I've always been about just keeping it real. If something happens in the midst of my recording, I don't really want to edit it. Why? Because that's real life, and you need to know that I'm not this polished, perfect being. I'm letting you know that, you know what, sometimes you are going to get interrupted. Sometimes you are going to have those moments that you weren't expecting. But from those unexpected moments can come huge blessings and so many things. So that's why, you know, I don't like to create an environment when it comes to my podcasts, my videos, my blogs, or anything like that. I want you to see the raw and real in me. To understand that when you come to me for help, for guidance, you're going to get the person you saw on that video. You're not going to get this person who is living this persona of perfection of, you know, I'm going to levitate from the sky and, you know, I got it going on all the time.
Upon you piddly people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know all, you know nothing. Right? It's like, it's the same energy, you know? You know, it's that balance. But also you a goddess, straight up and certified, you know what I mean? And it's like, wow, if both of those places can exist and I can see it outside of myself, it must be a mirror to me. It must, like, that's universal law. It's energetic law. If that didn't exist within us, we wouldn't even be able to recognize it. We wouldn't even be able to recognize it at all. And I think the best example I can have for that kind of energy is if I just hear like a recording of another language, right? And I don't have any like embodied clues or anything, it's only going to have so much meaning to me, right? I can appreciate it. I can guess about it. But if it's something I've never encountered, I don't even know how to process it. If I hear somebody say something to me, a quote or something that's said, and I'm like, there's a resonance in there somewhere that had a match to it, you know? And so, yeah, all of that. And the synchronicities become super apparent because she came in literally as you were fixing your lips to ask me
about her.
She's like, oh, now it's my turn. And she got mad because she was like, wait, this is our podcast.
Right.
Like, you know, Mari keep it real. She's like, wait.
She does. And she showed up right when, because I swear I was segueing from the healing theater on into that. And she's
like, let me help you with that.
Boom, guess who stepped in the room, you know?
You know me, I'm the medicine woman. I'm the rain goddess. Okay, that's her new name, the rain goddess, because every time it rains, she must go out and play in the rain. Like it's not non-negotiable. I just said, okay, She got a full rain suit. She got a collection of rain boots and ponchos, hats. It's like, who am I to keep you from sacred rain? Like, what I'm supposed to do? I created a song for her to sing in the rain because I hate rain.
Okay.
I created a whole song.
Wow.
You know.
That
FYI, me and Amari got an album that is coming. It will be here before the holiday season.
Oh,
yeah, we got a whole like children's album. So cool, sacred songs, and this is part of all of that, right? It's like even the investigating the songs that our children have access to singing. What does that mean to me and how I walk? It has very little. It has some nostalgia, you know, and some good childhood memories, but I want it to be beyond that. I want it to be something that is linked to my ancestral ways and the energetic principles that I want to teach and impart. Like, I want you to be singing this song, you know, all the earthlings celebrate the rain. Thank you, rain. Thank you, rain. Thank you, rain. Thank you, rain. All the earthlings celebrate the rain. You know what I'm saying? That's what I need you to know when you out there playing in the rain in your bliss. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm coding.
Right.
And it's upon all of us to find the ways that resonate for us to do that, because liberation is about undoing knots and reconnecting some places too, you know?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, Miss Neith Sankofa, it is always so beautiful when we talk. It is. And before we go, I wanted you to talk a little bit about any sacred offerings that you have right now within the Healing Theater. Because one of the questions I have for you is, you know, since we're in this moment of COVID, do you offer the Healing Theater online? Or okay.
Yes. So how that is currently working, please follow me on Instagram. I'm at Neith Sankofa, and I'm sure, you know, Goddess Allison is gonna hook it all up with all the information and stuff. But so since I am focused exclusively on these aspects of, you know, how I present in the world, people can book me to do a healing theater, a virtual healing theater. Right now, you know, I'm doing it virtually, or you can, you know, coordinate me to do a healing theater at your, you know, next retreat or, you know, sacred gathering. And, you know, it's the whole, and I've had some people who don't necessarily want the conversation after, which is part of the healing theater. We have dialogue, we share tools and all of that. So it can be, you know, adjusted to the needs at the time. But yes, that's how you can get in touch with me. You can hit me up on Instagram at my email, neithsankofa@gmail.com, NEITHSANKOF as in Frank A @gmail.com. To talk to me about how we can collaborate on an experience of this for your community, you know, and what energy is it that you want to help and want to explore within your community. And that can be a co-creation. Also want to add that I am doing a season 1 healing theater review. So after all is said and done, I did 10 healing theaters over the last since I started. You were actually at the very first healing theater. You were at the very first theater. You know, we did a fall equinox. So I mean, it's like the same exact amount of, you know, has circled back around to fall equinox time. And now I'm ready to do season 2, but I'm releasing season 1 and clips and like insights and writings around the all this stuff we talked about here, right? All the pieces that go into it in the thought and the intentions behind it. And what I'm asking people to do is to sow into my development and rolling out of season 2 of the Healing Theater for community. So I'm receiving direct support from community, and not just from Black women. And matter of fact, I would like Black women to ask other people that they know to support my work as well, because it is the season of reparations. It is the season of supporting those of us who are retrieving things that were taken from us. Okay. That we spent thousands and thousands of dollars and have hundreds of thousands of dollars, repetitively of student loan debt, trying to create lives for ourselves, create understandings for our community that we sow back into our community. So that's a real ask for people to direct money towards the development of the Healing Theater and the projects that I'm doing. So you can do that at like Cash App, at Neith Sankofa, at PayPal, at my email address. Or just hit me up and be like, how can I get you some reparations? Yeah, okay, I'll send you the links, okay? And even all of this are new models that I'm excited to stand in the truth of, because sometimes we will not explore something that's on our hearts for decades, because we were like, how can I ever learn enough that I want to know about this and get all the monies that it takes to put stuff in place? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And there's other models that we can work within to support each other and to support our own sacred work.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to make sure that Neith's bio and all of her links, every way that you can contact her, sow into her, everything is going to be in the show notes so that you can connect with this powerful divine sister of mine. Before we go, Neith, I wanted to
maybe I'm stuck.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. There you go. You were stuck for a minute.
Okay, sorry.
Note, that's okay. The last note I want to add is I also have an initiative that's closely related to this that's called Release the Medicine. It is both a call out to spirit warriors, Black women specifically, to release the medicine of your gifts, of your thoughts, of your ideas, of your offerings, of your askings. Release the medicine of that. Along with that, it is the same call for reparations, for people to release medicine back to me, back to Black healers. Like, shout out, please send out Allison Rozelle out on the airwaves to be a recipient of that, because you sow so much into sacred communities. And honestly, we all have to retrieve that space for us to become well with our righteous ancestors. Those shamans, medicine people in community, they were cared for by the community that they served. Hello, they did not have 3, 4, 5 jobs, okay? So that's that, and also for people to release the medicine of the sacred implements and objects that they might have. And this is specifically for, our white allies that we come in contact with, other sacred beings outside of this circle, but we still have contact and communication with. If they know people who have a djembe in their living room and they just like to play on it every now and then, and they think it look cute, these are sacred objects that we need more than ever now, as we're facilitating healing on behalf of our righteous ancestors and, for the healing of all people, all humanity. We should not be having to spend $400 or $500 out of our own pockets when it exists already. Give it back. The Release the Medicine that's also on my Instagram, and I stand in the full. I hope that whomever that was for heard all 10,000 of my ancestors as they stood beside me as I said.
Yes.
Look, she's serious about that. And also also because I really am creating a model of that for us. Like my 70-year-old elder who has dedicated 50 years of her life towards healing the community, towards dismantling female genital mutilization across the world. She should not still have to be figuring out how to be well, you know?
No.
And this is this on my list, and I shall see it. I shall see it done, you know?
See to it.
That's the second time somebody has quoted Octavia Butler to me today, sister.
And I got that quote from you at the Healing Theater. Full circle up in here.
Ashe.
Oh, love it. Well, Neith, thank you so much for joining us here on the Sacred Pathway to Liberated Black Womanhood podcast. You are welcome back anytime to come back and bless us with
I would love it.
Beautiful jewels that just come from you.
I love you so much.
I love you too. I love you.
Many blessings for this community and for all the sacred work that you are just so graciously and beautifully just pouring out into the world. I see raining down upon you and upon this entire community. Blessings. I see all levels of abundance, joy, fulfillment, orgasmic bliss. The birthright of our existence is upon us, and we receive it. And I give so much thanks. Amen. Ashe. So it is. Say to it, okay?
Yes. Thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us on the Sacred Pathway to Liberated Black Womanhood podcast. Make sure you need to share this episode with somebody. And make sure that you are subscribing, liking, sharing. And if you're on Apple Podcasts listening to this, leave me a review. Yeah, I need that. So thank you again, and I love you all, and I will talk to you all again soon on the next podcast episode. Bye for now.